We are a band of brothers and native to the soil, fighting for the property we gained by honest toil. And when our rights were threatened, the cry rose near and far, hurrah for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. That is a song about the Confederate flag. Mtimkhulu, first of all, thank you for making a response to my video. I just started making these, and that video has generated a lot of attention from white South Africans, black South Africans, and American Southerners, all of whom disagree with me in different ways, which was scary at first, but now it's fun. So I will first explain why I think Umshini Wami can be compared to the Confederate flag, then how I define credible sources, and then a brief comment on that cover of Time magazine you mentioned. First of all, I do not think that there is a superset of that is a flag and then a subset of other things, perhaps other kinds of symbols, including songs or maybe just songs, that feed into the superset of flags. I would translate it, I suppose, into math differently. I would say that they are equals because they all are types of symbology. They are ways that we identify ourselves and our motives and all of those things. And there are many other things. It could be a song, it could be a flag, it could be a book, it could be a speech, it could be a dance, a painting, it can be an armband, or a haircut, or a prayer. Symbology, again, is a mixed bag. So whatever sort of symbol you choose, it is more about what you put into it than it is the medium through which you express it, at least in the way I'm interpreting it. So there is our difference of opinion. Now, you defined the Confederate flag as being a symbol of racism. I think you may have said that it was destructive or similar words to that. And Umshini Wami as a tool of a positive political movement or a vehicle or something along those lines. Well, I think you're right in both cases, but you are only half right. Because my point of the original video was that both of those things are actually both of those things. Both of those symbols contain, depending on who you ask, both of those attributes. And when it comes to social symbols, being right or wrong is not a textbook issue. If your symbol is hijacked by militants and you're moderate, then you have work to do in terms of restoring that symbol to yourself, or, in extreme cases, giving it up because it's just not worth it. Or if your symbol is not hijacked, but there is an impression that it means something that it doesn't, and nobody actually believes that, you have work to do in terms of countering the impression that is caused. So the reason that I brought those two symbols together was because I think in both cases there is either the impression or the reality of a militant wing associated with people who identify with those symbols, and it creates a problem for moderates, and it creates work for moderates, and they do have those things in common. Believe it or not, there are people in the US who identify with the Confederate flag, own the flag, sing that song, and are good, non-racist people. It's true. Credible sources. I listed Time magazine as a credible source, along with the BBC, and along with, perversely enough, Wikipedia was another credible source. And you picked out Time magazine, and I think it has a lot to do with them betraying a sense of trust you may have had on May 9th, 1994. But even given that, I want to defend Time. I'm not even a fan of Time, but I am going to defend Time because of what credibility of sources is versus credibility of an argument. A credible argument is strong when it comes from a variety of credible sources. It is the diversity of sources that lend credibility to our arguments. And for that reason, and something I'll go into, a low threshold of credibility in journalistic sources is actually kind of healthy. is healthy. I'm not even going to say kind of. It's healthy. So, credible sources: Time Magazine, the BBC, Wikipedia, Al Jazeera, The Village Voice, Robert Novak, who outed Valerie Plame. If you read his columns, Jon Stewart of The Daily Show, providing you can parse the satire from the reporting. These are credible sources. Why? Being a credible source is not the same as always telling the story the best way, or even always being factually accurate. Rather, institutions of journalism earn credibility by making a consistent effort to present and understand real events. An effort. The fact that nobody gets it perfect is why we need the input of many streams of credible sources, and we give more of an ear to those with greater credibility. I believe the BBC, for instance, has greater credibility than Time Magazine. But if we reject the very credibility of news sources simply because they seem to see the world through the eyes of our opponents, in that we deprive ourselves of the very diversity that allows us to pluck the truest possible insights from among the voices. Not everybody gets credibility. If you lie intentionally, you lose credibility. That's why I didn't mention Rush Limbaugh, because I feel he has been outed too many times for intentionally deceiving. I wouldn't apply that to Time. Now, you were upset by the May 9, 94 cover of Time. Well, I went to their website and I took a look, and I also read the story. It's actually a very short story associated with it. Okay, everybody watching who's still there, go to the sidebar, click on that link, look at the painting. Do you think that painting is insulting, or do you think it's respectful? Mtimkhulu, I respect your opinion, but I differ from your interpretation of the sentiment behind that image. So I would love to see what other people think. Again, thanks so much for responding. It was a big treat. I'm probably going to move on to other subjects just because I want to really branch out and play. But I really appreciate this opportunity. And make those comments. Tell me what you think of that magazine cover. I cannot wait to see. Cheers.